Hi there. I'm really glad that you're with me today. I hope and pray that your life is going well today, so well that you might reach out, try to help somebody else's life go a little bit better. You know, I was at the park this past Sunday, and this wonderful couple, we were walking along the same trail, and African American couple, and we were just talking about our families, and they were asking me how I was going with mine, and I was asking them how it's going with their family. And we just talked about how sad it is that things had to get to this place for somebody to pay attention. But we also felt like things are changing, that people are aware of some things through all of this tough time that they weren't aware of before. And I'm so glad that I was able to talk with them and just have a bit of perspective and what's going on in the life of somebody. I normally, we wouldn't bump into each other, but there we are at the park. So let's talk, let's connect. And I just want to encourage you to do that. Connect with anybody that you can. And maybe it'll even lead to a friendship, a long-term friendship that you never, ever expected to have. Now, let me tell you about something else. We're doing something Saturday. I think you've heard about it, called Finding Freedom. Love for you to come, be part of that. It's an all-day workshop with Chris Williams and myself. And what's really unique about that is that once you hear the material, then you get involved in an online group. It's confidential. It's just amazing how impactful it can be. It's almost like you're not as self-conscious and so you're a little more open than you would be sitting in a room with everybody. But man, we're having great results from these workshops. So therapists involved, Chris Williams, myself, and whatever it is, and especially we're going to look at some things that we're not dealing with here in the area of eating. So if you're struggling with eating or depression or shame or whatever it is, well, I really want to encourage you. Sign up, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com for Finding Freedom. Now, we've been talking about the it of Lose It for Life, and I want to continue that right now. Now, when we go deeper into our soul and our heart, and we start to, you know how Jesus talked about the big shots of the day, they were cleaning the outside of the cup, and that was looking really good. Got nice hats, robes, belts, all that stuff. But the inside was really dirty. Well, we're talking about doing what Jesus was suggesting would be a really good thing to do. Look at the inside of the cup and deal with it. So, if I eat a lot, I could eat because I'm depressed. I could eat because I'm just bored. I don't have anything else to do. I could eat because I'm agitated, irritated, and anxious. And you could say I fall in this category of low frustration tolerance. So if I need it now, if I'm impulsive, if I'm always arguing, if I'm thinking nobody's shaping up right, everybody needs to quiet down, settle down to make me more comfortable, maybe low frustration tolerance is there. Anxiety is the foundation of that. And a lot of times in my fear, I'm anxious because I don't know where my life is going. I don't have a purpose. I've never nailed down, who's really in control. Is it all up to me? Well, I should be anxious. Is it all up to God? Okay, I can surrender a little bit in that area. But maybe I'm not confident. I doubt everything I do, and I've just got this free floating fear out there. That will drive me to eat. Now, in the Bible it says that love casts out all fear. So if I am saturated with unrealistic fear, maybe the direction I need to go is to work on my love relationship with God. And when I work on my love relationship with God, the fear starts to subside. If it really is true that God is love and love casts out fear, and where there is love, there is no fear, then that's something I ought to look at. Because, if I'm anxious and afraid, it could be because I'm worried about everybody, along the way, that they're against me. And I'm so worried and uptight about them that I protect myself from people rather than love them. Anxiety, low frustration tolerance. Here's another thing. Perfectionism is another reason to be very anxious. If I feel guilty over never doing enough, if every time I go to a meeting it's just all about how it could be better versus being in the process of being in that meeting and working on me, if every little thing that doesn't go right bugs me, if I have unrealistic goals, unrealistic expectations, if people think that more than enough is never enough for me, those are the kind of things that can just drive me to eat because I'm so anxious about the world not being perfect. Well, it's not perfect. And even in the garden, where it was perfect, it still had temptation. There were still snakes there. There was still stuff to be avoided. Now, the opposite of the perfect feeling inside of me would be shame. And if I am driven by a sense of worthlessness, second class, don't deserve anything, there's another drive of needing to comfort myself with food. Food becomes the medication that never ever works. If I need 100 milligrams of food today, I need 1,000 milligrams of food tomorrow. Whatever dose could be prescribed, it'll never ever be enough. Then there's this concept of there and then living. There and then living. So I could be living in my past. A past that is full of regret that I simply cannot change. And it's hard for me to accept that I cannot change that past. But nothing I do is ever going to make it better or changing. So there and then living is living in a past that I cannot change. Or a future that I cannot predict. And this can take on a couple of forms. One, in the future, it's going to be worse than it is today, or in the future, one day, everything's going to be okay. Now, that's just not a very healthy way to live your life. Well, it's going to be okay, or it's not ever going to be okay. It's going to be whatever it is, and I want to be prepared for it realistically. And if I have this grandiose feeling that my ship's going to come in, or I've got it made, or I don't ever have to worry, or, all of this stuff. Or, I might be a miserable mess that's 100 pounds overweight, but I could sure counsel you. Those kinds of things are grandiose, and they're part of this there and then mindset where, one day it's just going to be so great. Or get me out of the reality today. I'm going to act like I know everything, or I'm going to act like I have this wisdom that others don't have. I'm a grandiose mess. Not living in the present, but living out there. And boy, don't make a mistake, because I'm going to see it. It's going to bother me, and I could attack you for it. I'm anxious. I'm afraid, and my tolerance for frustration is so low. So here's where I end up. I end up in a life of defiance. There's no fruit of the Spirit that is growing up out of this soul. There's no benefit to anything I'm doing in life. I'm destructive. I express my feelings as if they're all true and valid, which, I'm feeling them. But, I might be having a 10-level reactionary feeling response to something that for most people that'd be about a 2. So yeah, I've got this real feeling, but is it valid that, the feeling's valid, but is it valid that I would go to that level, or is there something within me that somehow, some way ought to be at a totally different level than that? That's what we want to have for our lives. We want to not be defiant and anxious and living in another world at another time. We want to be rooted in the present. Now look, here's the life of a person who's not having to deal with the it of lose it for life. You have a peace about you. You have a tranquility or a serenity Because yes, you know that there are going to be some problems, but you also know that you've handled problems in the past and you're going to be able to handle these in the future. They may not be comfortable problems. You may not come out smelling like a rose, as they say. It really might be tough, troublesome, difficult for you. But you're going to be okay, and you know that. So you're not freaked out by everything that happens. And here's the other thing. Is there a big bad wolf in your past? What I'm talking about, is there somebody that abused you, neglected you, hurt you in some way, and you're still reacting as if that person is in your present? You're still living life really kind of controlled by some big bad wolf back there in the background. So when you're talking to your husband, boy, there's some dad stuff there, that really bad dad stuff that's being attacked or addressed there, and your husband doesn't even know. What did I do? Didn't do anything. But when you're talking to him, he's got your dad's father on his shoulders, his head, your dad's head on his shoulders. Same with men and their mother. Could be somebody else. But look, when we resolve the feelings with the big bad wolf back there, then we're more able to connect with people, not react to every person. Let me just give you a simple example. Let's say you had a dad that a fourth of the time was engaging, wonderful, fun, loving, and you were his favorite. 3/4 of the time, he was a jerk. He was mean, vindictive. Maybe he had a horribly cruel father. And so now here you are. You were his favorite. He had a fourth of the stuff that was pretty good. In fact, some of it was great. So what you're not able to tell yourself is that he was a horrible man. That 1/4 didn't make up for the 3/4 that was horrible. It's not a matter of, not everybody's all good or all bad. This guy was a lot of horrible stuff. And you don't want to admit it. It's too painful to accept. Who wouldn't have trouble with that? So what do? You react to every other man who represents your dad. You're mad at them, not him. Because you just don't want to go there. It's just too painful. So you keep him up on that pedestal. So what happens then? You gotta eat. You gotta comfort yourself. Or maybe if you were abused, you're afraid of dad. And so now you're afraid of man. And I've seen it over and over in assessments and evaluation. A woman will make herself so big that no man could ever abuse her or be more powerful than her. And the same thing with men. They'll do it too. They'll produce mass so that they'll never ever be victimized again. All of that relates to the it inside of us. We resolve these things. They're not easy. But then we have a chance to change everything for the good. So going deeper into your heart and your soul. You don't ever find that on the wrapper of a diet candy or a diet Coke or something. But I'm telling you, that's the path to long-term weight loss. Lose it for life. That means forever and for the life that you've always wanted to have. Well, I'm really glad that you could join us for going deeper here. We're going to finish up this series the next couple of days, so come join us again, and we'll do a little more. And then right after this, I'm going to go the other direction, talk to you, have one more session on eating, and that'll be in the area of anorexia. So tune in for that. And don't forget, this Saturday, we're going to be there finding freedom, and we could help you find freedom from the it that's driving you to eat too much. So come join Chris Williams, myself, and our therapy team. I think it'll be a great day. If you want to find out about that, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I hope to see you on screen this Saturday.